My name is Nassim Sabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
Now, what's really interesting about this is it's the same thing I said earlier, is that it's not like we just came up with this yesterday. We have 3,000 years of case study after case study, even in modernity. There's a lady I know that I cast the devil out of many years ago, whatever you guys want to call them, parasite, whatever. But we were on the phone with her. I was on the phone with her and going back and forth, and I began to talk to the entity. And she was cussing me out and saying all kinds of stuff. And finally I said, okay, can I talk to the entity? She said, yes. And I said, okay. And I called it by name. And I said, I have a vision right now. I said, you were conjured in the second story of the house through a Ouija board. The individual was a woman. She calmed down. Her voice changed. She said, and he said, yes, she did. She conjured me. I said, so you used that contact as a portal? Yes, I did. I said, all right. It was a Ouija board. And I said, I named it again. I said, so why are you here? He said, because she wants me here. Now watch this. The individual was not just possessed, but she had been addicted to heroin. And the entity, it started out, hello, Uncle Ted, Aunt Deborah, or whoever we want these beings to be. Next thing you know, she made a covenant. This is what they said. She had made a covenant with the devil. And that entity came to claim payment with her life. Now, these, and I understand this, people are going to say, okay, Nathaniel, you're doing alarmist. I am. I make no apologies about it. I know. But my point here is, it's like Rex said earlier, we have to start defining this in a clearer way. Because it seems like in every other practice of conjuring, be it ritual magic, even Santeria, whatever Crowley was doing with the Kabbalistic rituals, Jack Parsons, these beings will allow us to believe in certain laws. And then until they want to step in and begin to do what they want to do, then all the laws dissolve into nothingness. And we realize, possibly for the first time, that we're being used, in that it was not contact that they were wanting the entire time. It was us that they were wanting the entire time. And so what they had been doing is, we weren't conjuring them, they were conjuring us. But they allowed us to play into the head game of, I'm going to make you think you got me, and then meanwhile, I have a hold of you. I hope this is making sense. I can remember being just a young kid, and I went to a natural history museum, and I always got bored being with the group because I'm not really a follower. And I just left the group and all by myself, and I got in trouble. I didn't care. But I'm walking around, and they had this exhibit, and it was a line of mailboxes. There was a placard on it, and it said, stick your hand in the mailbox, pull it out, think about it, and tell us what you think you felt. So one after one, I was wrong every time, never got one right. But what I was doing was, I was using all of my senses to grasp something that I really had no experience of. So essentially, here I am, I have touch, but I don't have sight. I think I do because I could see it in my mind. And so what I had done is, I had one essence of sense. I knew what it felt like. And so what I did is, I used that feeling to create whatever it was that I was feeling. Not that I was ever right. I just knew as a kid, I felt something. And so what my brain had to do was start to fill in the blanks of what I was experiencing. And I fear that in the field, we are using feeling more than we are the mind. In other words, we justify their nature. Well, I felt them. We use the experience to validate who and what they are. In other words, we see this often in experiencers. I know my doctrine's real because I know what I felt doing. Because just like a kid, I fear that many cases, just because we feel them around us, if we could conjure them, does not really mean we know what their intentions are for us. In other words, the experience can be 100% real, but it doesn't mean we really understand what they're doing, why they're here, and what they want from us. That's the nature. The human condition cries out to be understood. It cries out to understand as well, not just to know, but to be known. And I also have another fear, and we're already up to 9:30. I've been rambling, man. I'm sorry. But my another fear again is that if there are botched rituals that these beings are willing to step into, what if they give us something that works just right? Right? What if? See, again, I'm not, see, we can go down through the different protocols. Okay, fine. I've read them before, but the point still stands. We can sit there and go through each and every one of them and say that they're contact modalities. But guys, this is not some new revelation to us. We have experiencers that went through all of these. They've tested them over and over and over again. And you know what they came to the conclusion of? What they came to the conclusion of is, I cannot control them, but they can control me. I'm trying to box them in with laws that I think they'll work around. And at the end of the day, they're about to eclipse them. And when they come here to eclipse them, they're going to step out of the circle of salt. And now they're going to demand something from us. And it's a scary point in history. It's the same thing they do with Deborah Muffin. Break the ritual. I don't even have to have a real ritual that makes any sense, at least to have an invitation. And an entity she had no idea even existed stepped into the room wanting a blood sacrifice, even willing to scratch it on a mirror. Now, what I am suggesting is this. Do I have enough data about C5? I don't think we do. Honestly, I think right now I'm erring on the side of fear and concern, only because we've seen this over and over and over again. This is not a new thing. It's new to many researchers. But to those who know like ritual magic, these beings have been leading us on for thousands of years, giving us rules that they won't even follow. And the entire process was not just, I want to give you rules, but I'm going to allow you to believe that I'm following them up until a certain point. And then I'm going to manifest that I'm going to take what I want. Okay, let's go deeper. The manifestations that we are witnessing now in the field of ufology, many of these beings don't even have to be conjured. Many of these beings are now manifesting to experiencers as semi-divine. Semi-divine. Not just that, but now we have experiencers who are acting like prophets and prophetesses, and they'll use phrases like, these are my these are my beings. And not just that, but now that they're prophets and prophetesses, it's not just that. This is really interesting too. Now they're creating their own conjurings. This is how I connect with them. This is how they manifest to me. Now, I would like to ask a question, and I know I would love to hear your all's answers. At what point does this become a prayer? Well, and I heard a researcher, well, it's not prayer because you have to, the prayers to God. That's not true. Not true at all. If you go into the classic definition of prayer, it's asking for help. That's the definition of it. It's not just strictly limited to some religious thing. But at what point does it become a prayer? And at what point do all of these rules that we're supposed to follow become doctrine? And at what point do these beings become gods, or at least mediators between us and God?